In keeping with an act relative to extending certain state of emergency accommodations, this meeting will be conducted remotely over Zoom. Attendance by board and commission members will be remote, and remote attendance shall be counted toward quorum. The meeting will be broadcast live and recorded, not by ECAT. To use Zoom, you'll need to use the link in the agenda or download the Zoom application and create an account, or use one of the call-in numbers listed in the agenda. You'll need the webinar ID to join by phone only. While conducting meetings remotely, we will endeavor to keep meeting operations as close to our standard procedures as possible. However, use of this platform will necessitate some additional meeting protocols. First, while board members or commissioners and applicants will be on video and audio, public participants will join the webinar as attendee, meaning they are muted and no video feed of them. Second, during the public testimony portion of the meeting, members of the public will be recognized using the raise hand function found under the participants from Zoom, or make a request in the Q&A function. If you're joining by phone, you can press *9 to raise your hand. If an applicant wishes to display materials, please make a request to the chair and email materials to the board staff for screen sharing. When starting the testimony, please state your name and address for the record. Third, there's a markup function in Zoom which will allow you to call outside specific areas for presentation of materials. Fourth, as in any public meeting, indecent behavior will not be tolerated, and anyone who abuses the meeting platform will be terminated from the meeting. Fifth, business will be handled at times indicated in our agenda. Business not included in the allotted time will be tabled to the end of the meeting to allow for timely login and remote attendance. Sixth, board members will announce themselves when making a motion and second it to a clear audience and minute takers who made motions. All votes will be by roll call. Seventh, when business indicates on our agenda has been completed, the members will vote to adjourn the meetings, signaling the end of the meeting and termination of the recording. All participants will be disconnected from the webinar at that time. Applicants will join our webinar as an attendee, promoted to panelists at their agenda item. Applicants will be then able to share their screens and present materials as much as possible. Presentation materials can be made beforehand and loaded into Permanized so the materials can be included for public record. Individual board chairs and staff may wish to keep screen sharing on their computer. Applicants are encouraged to speak with staff prior to the meeting on how materials will be presented. I think I got everything.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay, jump into it.
So, Tana, do you want Joe to just jump through bring the different action items up, or do you want to announce them, or?
Yeah, we can give me some work to do. All right, fall program updates.
Yes.
On you now, Joe.
Thank you for the breather. As I updated before, we are up and underway with field hockey and cross country. Our registration is open, as well as some basketball leagues have started. We do have 3 concurrent basketball programs, including a women's pickup league, a men's pickup league, and then a specific over 30 organized league. We are offering our co-ed volleyball again as well. That league is in its startup phase. We may be opening some of these registrations again to increase or offer a second opportunity at membership, specifically thinking about anybody coming back from winter break for our women's pickup league. We had a pretty good turnout, and there was a little bit of a better turnout from what I understand for the March Madness tournament. So we're hoping to open that and potentially invite some more folks to join in on the fun. On field hockey, it is still going strong. Jeff Page, our program assistant for the folks that don't know him, he's helped to coordinate an additional game, which will be an end-of-season jamboree, which sounds like a great time. All 3 of our teams will be taking place in it. We are not passing on any additional costs to individuals on the team. We'll be fronting that to allow a little bit more participation. It's a really popular league, so we wanted to offer the additional opportunities as possible. Those are the updates I have for our second bullet point. We will be sending out an end-of-season evaluation form as well to gain feedback from the folks that were involved in these programs, similar to how we did with our summer events and activities.
That sounds great.
I can just keep rolling. So looking ahead to our winter programs, as I noted, some of those programs will run over winter with their registration starting now. Let me find my notes here. There are a handful of programs that we'll be running for the purposes of this meeting. We're defining winter program as anything that concludes prior to the Easter holiday or the April break. So obviously winter's a little bit longer in New England, so I figured I'd make that a little bit of a longer program window for us. We're excited to offer some things that had been formally offered, as well as create some new things. So some of the highlights are going to include a floor hockey program, some family dance programs, a little bit of a different opportunity with a Learn to Code program for 8 to 12-year-olds. We have coordinated a virtual family cooking program that'll be guided by a registered dietitian and nutritionist. There'll be a virtual offerings, and it'll have a relatively lower cost than the in-person variety that's offered. So hoping that a lot of families in Easton will be able to make that work scheduling-wise, as well as afford the relatively lower fee. Some other programs that we'll be hosting at Frothingham Hall worth noting will be a ballroom dance class. That'll take place at 3. There's no partner required. As well, we'll be piloting a unique wellness program that'll be a 3-part series with our yoga instructor, Doreen, going over the basics, the history, and some of the practices for meditation. We'll have a single-day program coming up as well with a former member of the Mass Audubon Society who will do an overview and sort of deep dive into fall foliage in New England, which should be very seasonal and timely. I met the gentleman the other day, and he seems very excited to partner with us. So those are a few things that are coming up. All of the programs that are going to be structured and have fees, we will open registration the first week of December, and they will initiate with a little bit of break after the new year to allow folks to fully take advantage of the registration window. They will have various lengths ranging from 6 to 8 weeks.
I was curious about the family dance. What is that program?
So it'll be hopefully 2 dance programs. I believe I have one totally solidified, but they'll be on Tuesday evenings. It'll be guided by a vendor that works and owns their own business called 321 Dance Forever. They will be guiding folks through very age-appropriate dances. It'll be sort of like a parent or guardian and me type dance program in the main hall at Frothingham.
Thank you.
Yeah. Mainly geared toward ages 4 or 5 and under. So trying to hit a group that we don't necessarily offer many programs for at the moment, recognizing some of those gaps.
Yeah, when you said family dance, I was like picturing like a 10-year-old and parents, and I was like, what are they doing? And definitely not a teenager and their parents.
No, I haven't lost it that much in the few months.
That sounds fun. Thank you.
Yeah, we're hoping to pilot some of these things and kind of gauge the reception and go from there. If they're well received, we'll try to do a little bit more and give people more of what they like. And if we don't meet a certain registration threshold, we can assess and maybe run a smaller, more modest program and learn from it. So not hesitating to try new things and take a few chances.
Yeah, that sounds great.
So that is a small taste of what's been confirmed, or I feel strongly enough to share here. There are a few other things that are on the horizon that I'm looking to partner with that I'll likely save for a later date when I have some more details to share with the group, if that's all right.
Sure.
Any questions on some of the winter programs we have coming up? We'll be posting on the go ahead.
Sorry, can you guys hear me? Sorry. No, I think that's really great. And I think also the fact that you identified kind of an area where we lack a little bit as a mom of young kids. I've also agreed there's not really a lot going on for really young kids in the town. And so I always found myself going to other towns for activities. So my kids were, they just started school this year. So I think that's really great.
Yeah, we definitely don't want any of our residents going somewhere else if we could just do it here and do it to the best of our ability. So I'm glad to hear that. I'm hoping to do more of the same. So keep an eye out for some things that'll be in our spring or early summer session. So all those things will be posted on our registration page as well. I'm working on some marketing materials with Jeff. We'll likely post on Facebook and hang some flyers around Frothingham Hall as well. So that will put a pin in some of the things I have for our winter programming. Fourth bullet item, we have pickleball updates. Where do I start with this?
Let me start by moving them in.
Sure. So, Kristen, in this part, I'll go through some of the notes that I have, or do we open for questions first?
No, you can go ahead and go through, give an update. There we go, and okay, there we go. Unfortunately, when we move people to panelists, they have to click themselves too that they're rejoining, so there's a little bit of a lag.
Yeah, they have to click in. Let's wait for a couple more people to come in.
No, they're all, everybody's in that was in the waiting room.
Oh, okay. Dick Kelly wasn't in the waiting room?
He's there.
He's there.
He's there?
Yep.
Is he in? Oh, okay.
Yep.
I'd like to say first that the courts look great. I've been down there because I'm in Florida now, but before I left, I took a look at them. The nets aren't up, but it looked like the contractor was doing an excellent job. On the fencing, on the gates weren't in place. I don't know that they're in place now or not, to the courts, and everything seems like it's looking well. One thing that kind of disturbed me today is I looked this morning because I know you meet. Usually this is the day that you meet every month, and there was no agenda this morning. I don't know when you posted it. It had to be sometime during the day, because if I didn't double check it tonight, I wouldn't be here. I wasn't planning on being on this because I didn't see the agenda. And I had requested this before, but there's different people involved now. Joe, would it be possible to send the agenda to my email and to Dick's email, so we're aware of your meeting and be able to click right on it without having to go into the website and search it out and it not being there, early this morning? I had requested that before.
It was there, Chuck. It has to be posted 48 hours in advance by the town clerk's office. So it's always on the front page of the website. It's not on our page or anything like that. It's on the front page of the town website.
It wasn't there last night. It wasn't there this morning. It turned up there when I just checked it about half hour ago. But in any event, whether you post it or not, is there a way that you could send it to me via email so I have it?
Hi, Chuck. I'm really appreciative of the positive notes. I think some of the stuff that I'm going to share is going to echo some of the points you made, but I think I agree the courts look absolutely beautiful and they're going to be great. To the point of sharing the agenda, that's probably a precedent I wouldn't necessarily want to set, because I don't know that I could commit to do that with all the user groups or stakeholders that I'll be working with my time here. So I'd probably have to turn it back and just advise you to check on the documents on demand page. So that, like Kristen said, that's going to be posted about 48 hours in advance. I double checked on Friday and I saw that our admin had posted it. So I probably have to refer you to documents on demand, and you can set like an Outlook calendar reminder and have it populate, and you can pop in and check to see when we'll be talking about pickleball. I imagine it'll probably come up for the next few months as we go through and finish the project.
The other thing too is before we end this meeting, we'll set the next meeting date. It's traditionally the second Tuesday. According to the clerk's office, I don't know if maybe you just weren't hitting refresh, because we were posted 10/6 at 3:06 p.m. They have to actually digitally sign it.
On 10/6 is it posted?
Yep.
On the site. Okay, I'll have to
No,
look
not
closer
on
next
the
time.
yes, on the front page of the town website. You
Yeah.
have to scroll down a little bit.
No, I know it's under recreation. And
No, it's not. It's let me screen share for 1 second just to make sure. Here. Here. So when the town webpage loads, it looks like this. If you scroll down, there's a calendar. and everybody that is meeting tonight is listed, and their agenda link is posted with the agenda. That's the link into the Zoom meeting. And as you'll see right here is when the clerk's office posted it on the town website.
Okay, I was going into it a different way.
So
I'll have to take a look at that way. Okay.
this is the easiest way to get to them, and it'll show you everybody that's meeting tonight. But traditionally, we are the second Tuesday. We're trying to keep with that.
Okay, I've never seen this page. I go into the Town of Easton site and it looks different. So this is just the Town of Easton, or?
Yep, that's www.easton.ma.us. That's the town webpage.
Okay, I didn't put the MA in. Okay, I'll find it.
Ah, there you go.
Okay, it goes right into the
Mystery
general
solved.
Easton website and it shows all of your committees and everything on there.
Yep, it has that calendar, and you can check ahead as to what's coming up. As soon as they're posted, they're on that calendar. And the town clerks keep us pretty short leash on us meeting the open meeting law of being posted 48 hours in advance.
Great. Okay. That's what I figured, and I just didn't see it. Now, the courts are not open, right, at this point?
So Chuck, if you would, I'm happy to give an update as I have on the agenda here. And then if you have questions, I think we'll offer everybody an opportunity to share and speak up.
Mm-hmm.
So I talked to Stephanie Dannison and Kristen, and the project is still ongoing. As Chuck mentioned before, most of the fencing is in place and the courts have been surfaced. They definitely look terrific. In terms of the ongoing project, there's still a substantial amount of grading and leveling to be done with the topsoil that currently remains on top of the former softball field. The contract end date, as a reminder for everybody, is the end of November. I've gotten some indications that the project will be done by the end of October, pending some stabilization and the assessment and updating of some of the infiltration that's around the course themselves. We are working with DPW on some winterization ideas, as well as going over the nets that are yet to be put up. But Kristen, correct me if I'm wrong, we've gotten all indications that we are going to be done well within the contract end date.
That is correct.
Great. Well, that's so you said the contract end date is the end of November, but it might be done in October.
There's some optimism that it could be done by the end of October.
Okay. I just want to convey to you that the Eastern Pickleball Club would like to use these courts as soon as possible. They did play almost all winter last winter because we didn't have much snow. But a lot of them are still leery about going inside, and that's the alternate is either playing outside or playing indoors where it's warmer, but they'd rather bundle up and play outside. So if there's a way that we can work out that when these are completed, the nets are put in place and let them play until they can't. Or I'd like your input on that and how you feel about it.
So we're going to work with, these are brand new courts to us, brand new net setups, brand new installs. We're going to actually defer and listen to what the installing contractor, the DPW, and the manufacturer say for these to be out over the winter, and we'll get back to you with what the recommendation is.
Okay.
Of course, we want them used as much as they can possibly use, but we also don't want to compromise any warranties or any issues that may come along with that. Okay.
It's something that I was told. I don't know if this is, well, I suppose you could say it's hearsay, but I've had reports that there's some people that have got onto the court somehow and are using them. Have you heard anything like that? And if that is the case, should there be a sign up there saying, either
well, the site is secured by the contractor. If anybody is getting in there, they're wiggling through fences that are already locked.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's just what I heard. And somebody said, hey, how come they're playing on it? Why can't we play on it? That's what, so perhaps you maybe notify local law enforcement and have them just keep an eye on it. Yeah, because they shouldn't be in there, because I know they just coated the courts, and that takes a little bit of time to dry. There's no nets up, like you just told me, because they could bring their own portable nets, but they shouldn't be on the courts.
That's correct. Well, that's the first I've heard of that. I know that the tennis court was being used, but that's the first I've heard of anybody being actually on the courts, and we'll follow up on that.
Okay, and the whole place is locked up, so the tennis court shouldn't be being used either, correct?
I'm not sure if they're accessible from the end from
No.
the street.
The construction fence goes around and encloses the tennis courts, basketball court, and the whole field area, as well as our courts.
Okay.
So the only way to get in there is to, like you say, is to weasel through the fence somehow or climb over it. Dick, I see you're on there. Can you hear me? You're muted, Dick. I was wondering if you had anything to say. Dick, unmute yourself.
The sun went down quick.
Chuck, can you hear me?
Now we can.
Chuck, this is Jack Doherty.
Yeah, hi, Jack.
How are you? First time at this, so I just raised my hand again. I'm not sure how it works, but as long as you can hear me. Dick and I had some difficulty getting on as you did. We're all set now. Dick should be on. He told me that he was on.
He's on, but he's muted, and it looked like he was trying to talk. And
Can you hear me now?
There he is.
Now you can hear you, Dick.
Go ahead, Jack. Go ahead, Jack.
No, go ahead, Dick.
Okay, the only thing I was going to say is I talked to Joe about the having a plaque for Scott Lewis. Okay, Bert Lewis got this thing going about 7 years ago. It never would have happened if it wasn't for Bert. Bert lost his son in the beginning of the pandemic, and it's a very sad case. We would like to have some kind of a plaque to memorialize his son. Okay, whether it be a sign, okay, a stone or whatever. Okay, I'm just wondering what the board feels about that.
So the select board has a policy when it comes to naming facilities that I can provide to the board members. We can provide to those of you that we have emails for as well, that can be reviewed, that deals with naming and memorializing.
So it's a possibility, in other words.
I would have to look at the policy. It's a pretty high standard. It's not an easy threshold to meet. But we can take a look at it.
Okay, I'd appreciate it.
Any other questions or comments related to the ongoing pickleball project?
Yes, Jack Doherty again.
Yep, Jack.
Just had a question. I'm hearing that there may be some funds remaining after the completion of the contract, and it may be premature to be discussing it, but Ms. Kennedy, I'm the one that was at the town meeting and asked about the tennis courts, because I think they're doing a fabulous job of refurbishing that area, but the tennis courts are actually not even safe. Awful lot of cracks. You can't really see the lines. It's an area that does need work, and you made a comment at the town meeting that that would be the next phase that you'd be taking a look at. So I'm not sure if it's premature to ask this, but I've heard people talk about lights. I've heard people talk about pickleball machines to shoot the balls and so forth. I think what we've got now is perfect. I think if you talk to people who live around pickleball areas, there's a lot of stress regarding constant noise of the balls. So I would not be a proponent of putting lights in. I think people need a break. So that's just one issue. Like, my point is, if there's money left over, could we take a look at that money and whatever kind of voting process we have to go through? Could we put that possibly toward the rest of the area, meaning the tennis courts, basketball court?
So my understanding is that the CPA funds that were approved for the pickleball court construction. There, as you said, there will be a final accounting, and if there is excess money, I've been told that the process would then be to seek guidance and possibly go from this group and possibly go back to CPC for basically a phase 2 on some of the pieces associated with pickleball. The DPW, though, is looking at the tennis court and the basketball court and looking at other options for the park as well. So we're all not just going to walk away when the nets go up and the construction fence goes down and say, okay, this is all we've got. We've got a beautiful asset here that I think everybody is interested in maintaining, as well as bringing what's around it up to the same level. No promises, but that is our mission, is to make this a very vibrant and usable area.
Wonderful. I'm in complete agreement with you. Thank you. It's gone very well so far.
I just have one other question. There was a policy document that you were going to be, we had a meeting a couple of months ago, and you're going to be working up some type of a, whether you call it rules or guidelines or something to that effect. Have you made any progress on that?
We don't have a program that we're ready to put out there yet. It kind of deals with, I think we need to look at the seasonality. I don't know whether or not it's better to just get the nets up, and if they do have to come down for the winter, for us not to roll out anything big, and to look at the spring as a start date for any formal programs.
Okay.
But again, we're waiting on the end of construction. We don't know what winterizing looks like for the site. So more to come. It's not fallen off of our radar.
Okay.
But
Very
are you
good.
talking about things like what you would have at any tennis court, or in towns where they say for Easton residents only, or not that we need to put that. I'm just saying that this is what kinds of things signs say, Easton residents only, use between dawn and dusk or something like that. Is that what you're talking about, Chuck? Those kind of rules?
Well, we did have a meeting and we went over a multitude of different things that either the town felt they wanted or that we felt should be in there. And one of the things was that we didn't feel at this point it should be restricted to Easton residents only, because right now our club consists of probably 50% of surrounding towns, of the people that are in it. If it does grow to a point where the courts are jammed, then maybe that policy should change. But at this point, we do service a number of other communities, and there's that's a whole group of people. Not sure whether it's like 80 or 90 people on the list, and that's only one of the many items that we did go over. I think Joe probably has a list that he could hand over to you of the things that we talked about at that meeting that probably should be discussed amongst this whole committee here, as well as the town and whoever else in the town has say in that.
So prior to these courts being constructed, we did have a pickleball program, and the members of the pickleball club paid a nominal fee to the town for dedicated time to use the courts. We talked about recreating that and basically having certain times that anybody who had paid that fee could play. During those times, they kind of have their own way, and they use an app of setting up the individual matches. We talked about inclusivity and being able to have new people incorporated into that group. We then talked also about the fact that we'd like to be able to possibly have an afternoon program after school and introduce some younger players. So we'd like to run a summer program and some instructional pieces as well. So we really want to be able to use these courts to their maximum, but preserving and putting the program very similar to what we had back in place, which did not restrict to just town residents, and did allow them the freedom to kind of structure some of their gameplay themselves.
Yeah, that basically encapsulated a number of the things that we talked about, but there was probably more, and that's what you're working towards. And I think you indicated, let's wait till the courts are completed, and probably by the spring, you'll have a whole set of documents, or probably only be a few pages long, sort of regulations or guidelines. Probably guidelines is a better name for it, that we should fall under. And the people playing that fall under.
Yep.
So,
okay. And then, we would want to leave it open too, that, clubs could rent the courts for different times as well, not to take away from the established group, but that there might be times when people might want to have, if they weren't being used, be able to secure them through a rental process. So we're looking at that. That ties to software packages that we're looking at, and a lot for all of our other facilities. So it's coming. It's just not, we want to get it right.
Okay, just wondering where that was. And it's good that you're progressing on it, and we'll wait to see what the final document looks like, so we can comment on it.
One of the big items that we talked about was having some kind of a pavilion, which was on the original documents. We took it out when we thought the budget was too high. Okay, so hopefully that can be worked out sometime in the future.
Yeah, I think Kristen touched on that when these courts are completed, the second phase will come into play, and we'll take a look at these items that we've had to eliminate due to some costing concerns, see if we can put back in place. Is that right?
That would be my plan, would be to look at some of the things that were removed and potentially create a list that then would need to go back to the CPC to see whether or not the funds, whether or not they would approve the use of the funds, or whether or not we need to start the process all over again. So if there's just certain processes that need to be followed. But as I said, we don't intend to walk away, and we really want this to be a vital spot in town that's used. We didn't build it to have it just sit and fall apart and not be attractive. So,
no, it'll be used. As soon as you open it up, it'll certainly be used. But that's great. I don't think I have anything else. Do you have anything else, Dick?
No, all I can say is, okay, things look really good down there. They did a good job, the contractor. So I'm very happy with what we see.
Yeah.
Thanks to all that were involved in that. It really has come out terrific.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you all. Okay, so that concludes our fourth bullet point here. Fifth, schedule for future meetings. I have the second Tuesday for next month as Tuesday, 11/8. We'll keep our regular scheduled time. Meeting format, bullet sixth. Based on the conversation, I did want to make sure that this was at least addressed, since we did table it. That was my understanding at the last meeting, is that we'll remain remote. Are there any objections from folks on the commission?
Oh, that sounds good.
Perfect. We'll remain remote. Staff notes. I think I actually came with a staff note. I did. So hopefully, if anybody was at Borland State Park's 50th and Family Fun Day, our department, HCS and community programming, was there. Staff Jeff Page was there with Mark Taylor, handing out some COVID test kits, doing some tick and mosquito awareness, as well as promoting some of our programs. It went absolutely terrific. Jeff got some awesome photos. We brought some large lawn games that we own and the library was willing to offer up to us. He estimated there was between probably 2,000 and 3,000 people present. So I hope that we reached a lot of people, brought a lot of our literature for programs. So hopefully we see that in signups. And that is my staff notes. Kristen, do you have any staff notes?
I do not. I am coming out of the Board of Health meeting, and I don't have anything extra.
Any applicants for the other 3 positions?
Yes, there is one applicant being considered tonight at the select board meeting. So
Awesome.
that will give us 1. There will still be 2 more vacancies.
Oh, good. Can I give a CPA update or no?
So I will make sure that Jen puts it on the agenda, but I do think it's appropriate under member notes. It's
Okay.
something that you're doing as a member.
Yeah, I have a little bit of an update, and I can't remember what I gave last, but I had met with the superintendent, the principal of RO, the athletic director, Wayne and Stephanie, about the schools wanting to apply for CPA funding for RO playground and for the tennis courts, to revive those because they're going in tennis and basketball. And so I gave them an overview of the process along with Wayne and Stephanie, and that went really well. It was a super meeting, super productive, and the schools knew what they needed. And that's germane for our purposes. The reason why I'm giving this update is just to go through again, the CPA funding can be used for 4 specific reasons. One is affordable housing, one is preservation of open space, one is parks and recreation, and the other is historical renovation. So the schools will be coming back to us. I don't know who was in those meetings before, just David Twombly was also at the meeting, and he met with us, I want to say, probably early this year, January, February timeframe, just looking to find out the process. And they kind of thought it could happen quickly. As we all know, through pickleball, hopefully nothing will be that long and drawn out again. But it doesn't move, super fast. But anyway, it's exciting news because they will basically, I will be the conduit for them as recreation's representative in order to apply for those funds to renovate the playground. They're in the process of getting estimates. What's that?
I was going to say we lost quorum.
Yeah.
We dropped
Melissa.
Well, I can conclude that. I don't know how that affects us. But that's basically
We just can't vote on things, right? If we don't have quorum. So you can still communicate.
Okay. So we have a meeting on Thursday. So at our next rec meeting, I'll be able to provide an update. I don't think the agenda must be posted, but I haven't taken a look at it. I don't know if they emailed it out, so I'd have to take a look to see. But that'll start to move pretty quickly, and it's really exciting because, particularly with RO, they so desperately need a playground. If you do a Google search, it's shocking, actually, when you do, it's not a Google search, but when you do an overview, when you do an aerial view down and you look at the school as compared to Clifford Grant with all this beautiful green space, and then they just had asphalt to play on. So with the combination of the new school, a playground there will be magnificent, and they do have architects working on that, and we're working on the estimates. I don't think that we will be able to fund this project completely, but what they're working on is the booster-thon that we just had. Those funds will go towards the playground, and we talked a bit about the basketball and tennis courts, and I indicated that pickleball courts added would be a good thing as well, and so there were some options there. So I should be able to provide updates in the future, but nothing to vote on, just an update.
Awesome. Thank you, Meredith. Let me know if there's anything you need from me as you go through that. I'm happy to help her act as a soundboard.
Yeah, I think it'll be good for all of us. The school, I think, will come present to us again because the board will have to vote on it. So we'll have to make sure we have a quorum there. So the process would be then rec comes back to us and we vote to approve to be able to push forward to the Community Preservation Commission. And then I would be the representative there at Community Preservation Commission meeting. And then that board then deliberates, discusses, the school department, along with me, would then present to that board, and then ultimately that board votes for it to go to town meeting for then the town, because the town ultimately decides on this. But we try to get everything buttoned up for to make it pretty streamlined for the town. They can have, the residents can ask questions, but it's so exciting. I mean, this is, I think, the ultimate and best use of community. I'm totally biased, but for CPA funding, it's just so many projects get funded and we don't actually get to see them. So that's the exciting part. That this is it's like the difference of having to put a roof on as opposed to getting a new kitchen, right? To draw my real estate analogy, I can't help it, but it's things that are really fun to spend your money on, and that's what I think it is. Especially to go out and see kids playing in an afternoon on the new playground that you just put in is pretty awesome.
Totally. I'm laughing at myself because I might need a diagram for everything that you just said for where you.
Sorry, I will. That's why I'm trying to ad nauseum explain here, because there is public relations kickback oftentimes with community preservation funding. So, when the schools are looking for it's the number one time when we see the comments about it, and it's absolutely reasonable. But what we see is people will say, well, I don't understand. Why are we spending $200,000 on a fence when we need $200,000 for a resource officer? And the really important piece here is the Community Preservation Act stipulates that the funding, when the town allocates their money that comes out of everybody's property tax, that only can be allocated for these four purposes. And that's the bottom line. And that's the important piece here is it's a beautiful act, but it gets confused very easily. So no need for the whole diagram. I'm going to just keep explaining how it works, but that's the kind of the front line and the most important piece, because that's the number one question we get.
I appreciate it. So any other member notes? We have Melissa back, so we thankfully could vote to end the meeting and everybody get their time back. Any other member notes?
Yeah, I have a couple things. One is about the minutes. We haven't had approval of minutes for a couple of months, and I don't know.
Sorry, that's my fault. I have minutes. I looked at them. I'm slacking. I apologize. I'm keeping track right now, too. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. I just wanted to see where that was and what we're supposed to do. And I wanted to ask about that. And then, Joe, as I said earlier, I returned the Ultimate Frisbee equipment to Jeff's office today, and I wanted to put it officially. We didn't have enough discs left from last year, and he bought some discs from Franklin that are made out of a different plastic. And I guess I'm sort of a Frisbee elitist that we don't play with it. So we made it through, but I just want to. For the next season, when he orders discs, I want him to buy the right ones. They're from Discraft. So I can email that to him, that information. But yeah.
And this is why it's so important that we're doing these after program surveys as well, because,
Did anyone say anything about that?
We haven't done it yet. I don't know if he sent out.
We did. We just didn't get a brand, and I was going to consult with some folks and see if they can give me a good brand to go with. But if you email it to Jeff, we'll proactively order some and have some on hand for when we start the season up. Yeah.
When I first started playing Frisbee, there were people we played with that were so, we've been doing this for 30 years and we're the best of the best and blah, 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 blah. And I was like, oh, if I ever get to be that elite Frisbee player that I only play with a certain one. And when these Franklin discs showed up, I went, oh no, I'm there. And I'm a Frisbee elitist now. So yeah, I'll send him the website or whatever.
Well, in case you all don't know, Tana has a son who is a legit world champion ultimate Frisbee player, like legit world champion. Yeah.
Oh, then that's fair. You get to decide what type of frisbees we're all
He's
using.
totally earned it.
Yeah.
You've earned your elitism. Yes.
I guess, but yeah. And other people were like, well, I'll just put this in my beach bag and we'll play with it at the beach. And yeah, and it's all fine. It's just a different feel. And yeah. All right. So I'll send Jeff that information.
Sounds good.
All right. Thanks.
Any other member notes? Hearing none, does anybody want to motion to wrap up the meeting?
I will. Tana Babbitt will move to end the meeting.
I'll second.
Second? I don't know what
Okay.
happens next. Do we do a full vote or is that it?
Yeah, we have to do a
It's
full.
roll call, so.
Babbitt, aye.
Clouser, aye.
Keach, aye. When's our next meeting? Do we have that established?
Hard side.
11-8.
November 8th.
Okay.
Same
Awesome.
time, 6 p.m. Right?
Yes, correct.
All right. And that
Does it matter
was
that it's
unanimous.
Yeah.
Sorry, Natalie?
I just on my calendar it popped up that it's election day. Does that matter?
Oh,
I don't think so, Kristen. We can pick a different date if folks are gonna have
I
conflicts.
mean, no, that's fine for me, but I just wanted to make sure everyone knew about it, just in case.
That might be one of the only big important days we don't have off, Kristen.
We'll confirm with the clerks that there's no issue, and if there is, we'll propose another date.
Sounds good.
yeah, that's fair.
All right.
All right, thank you, everybody.
Thank
Bye.
you. Have a
Thank
good
you.
night.
Take care,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.